Now with solo leveling, there's something that I kind of forgot to speak about that I was supposed to speak about, and it only just came to mind, so let's talk about it. Obviously, with solo leveling Arise right now, we pretty much have full reign on to do whatever we want. Just put it like that. The only real stipulation between having restrictions, you could say, is that there are some modes that will allow us to only use hunters, whereas some modes where we can of course utilize Jinwoo, but by doing that we can't then use our hunters, like control them, but we can use them as supports. So for the most part with game mode, that's basically it. Other than that, with certain modes, I mean, for example, in this situation, yeah, so the last fight here is for hunters. Now, for the most part, it will give you a recommended attribute to kind of fight against the boss itself, but outside of that, you know, you can go about and just kind of creating a team, applying whoever you want, disregarding like the guild that they're in, the attributes that they are, whatever. You've got full reign to create whatever team you want, and that's across practically every single game mode right now. I don't think there's any other restrictions. Again, like I said, the only restriction really is if whether or not if the mode itself is a Jinwoo mode or a hunter mode. Now, the reason why I'm bringing all of this is that if you head over to your character side of things, so if you head over to hunters, and then once you get there, if it wants to load anytime today, pretty please, with ice cream on the top, there we go. And if you hit this book icon, it gives you more info about the character itself in terms of the guild that they're in, as well as their affiliation to the country that they're in, as well as other bits and bobs. So there's that. Now, this is something that we need to now cater to and look into upon new characters coming into the game. It's just additional things to kind of take note. The reason why I'm mentioning all of this right now is because of this. So a couple of days ago, Mass came out with a tweet which I initially saw, and I'm only just remembering it on that after a video on it, to make sure that you guys are all aware, because this is something that we need to now consider, look into, as this will affect future modes. Now, I will say this is probably going to be something that's going to be happening probably way after global release, I want to say, because it does require us to work on multiple characters and have our account somewhat semi-stacked. So to have restrictions in place in terms of certain modes, it's just not going to happen. I mean, obviously for the soft launch people, I think we will probably get it maybe a little bit early, unless they want to keep the mode releasing same time for global, then you know it's going to be a bit of a wait. But just to give you guys an idea, here are some of the characters along with the guilds, and it also specifies where they're from. You don't really need to consider their ranks. This is just kind of telling you that the hunter's rank, but you don't really need to. Actually, no, that might factor in. Wait, no, yeah, that might factor in. Wait, does it specify the class? It does. Okay, so it does specify that class. Okay, so that needs. So yeah, there's a lot to factor in for a character in terms of their rank, where they're from, the guild that they're in. So here we have a good amount of, well, I say a good amount, this is actually a pretty big list in terms of all the characters and the guilds, and keep in mind you've got the OC characters too. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to, not to say the least. There is a hell of a lot to look forward to. I'm curious to see on how big this Solo Leveling Arise roster will actually be. So that's yeah, that's going to be something for food for thought. But regardless, the reason why I'm mentioning all of this is that Mass has confirmed that with affiliation, nationality, future modes will have affiliation ban, element ban, and class ban. That is right. So, you know, right now, you know, Emma's kind of one of the reign top dogs. Choi is a top dog. Jiwoo is pretty solid. Cheyenne will also obviously be such an amazing character. Yunho right now is a pretty good breaker. You know, I'm just kind of naming off some good characters, you know, and if bans come about, we can't utilize those characters. So going forward, it really is coming down to making sure that majority of your characters should be ready for battle, at the very least. And I guess you could mention that this also then comes back down to the number one problem, where I've spoken about it already, talking about the gold situation, of course. So it's funny how everything kind of always goes back to gold, you know, but it just kind of shows you how big of an effect it is. And so by them applying all of these restrictions now for future modes, it really will put the account to the test, as well as the characters that you have. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how people feel about that, because again, it can screw over a decent amount of people. I think what it is that it really comes down to on when you start the game, as well as the amount of time you put in to work on multiple characters. Because if there are restrictions coming in terms of the bans through the relevant affiliation and class, like at that point, I would say this is more for mid to end game type of players who are playing Solo Leveling and Rise. I guess another takeaway from all of this is that we have to also look into characters. I mean, because realistically, as I mean, as you saw right there, I mean, Lim right now is, I would say, a rare character coming across from what we're seeing right here. Because it's talking about bans, but let's say if it makes it so that we can only use specific characters from certain guilds, because that's something that they can do. And I think Fiend right now is like the only one that has the, oh no, Fame, but we don't even have Wook yet, so no, I feel like a lot of people have Emma. Yeah, there are certain guilds that I'm seeing with the low amount of characters so far. Yeah, I feel like they should stick to the ban, because if they'd make it so that let's say a mode that you can only use Fame, that is really going to cuck a lot of people, realistically. So yeah, let's not go down that route of making it so that modes are catered to specific guilds and whatnot. I think that is not the direction that they want to take it. I think just keeping it with the bans, I think that's going to be more better and more open to everyone, because it's still technically giving you access. It's just kind of cutting down on what characters to use or you can use. So yeah, let's just hope they don't do anything like that, otherwise that is going to be really dumb. But there we go. As we're all aware, make sure that you're working on multiple characters. I mean, for the most part, I think a lot of people are going to be catering to the SSR side of things, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, if it is a long wait, then technically speaking, yeah, if you're as long as we're catering to the SSRs, because I think by then, if they choose to apply the ban, I feel like a decent amount of SSR should already be in the game. To be fair, just by looking at all these SRs, that's kind of yeah, you're probably wondering, wait, what's going on here, Shiny? I'm doing some tests. And the bleed is, well, the damage and the bleed together is coming across quite nicely. So let me just continue with my test, and then I'll do a video after. But yeah, essentially these are like the SRs which you really want to cater to. Yeah. Yeah, these are the SRs that you want to cater to. Actually, it's 50-50 on Kang. Let me just run my test with him. But everyone else, yeah, cater to those SRs. Anyway. That's it. That's all I wanted to mention. Just kind of want to make everyone aware, and yeah, make sure that you're catering to multiple characters if you can do so. If you can, yeah, if you can, because I understand with some form of limitations going on with resources and whatnot. So I get that. I understand. But just so that we're aware of it now, we can start working towards making sure that we're catering to multiple characters, so that when the ban system does come into place, we're more than prepared. You know, best to be prepared. Well, what's the saying? Better to be safe than sorry. There you go. Yeah.